Hey, Mad Rabbit here, and we're doing a video for the Homestead, the furniture previews from, well, basically everything I've gotten from recipes so far in the game. This would be a really good thing for people that are maybe looking for like what particular items look for, and I have timestamps on the bottom as you can see there from the different crafting stations. So we're starting out with some of the shorter ones like alchemy, enchant, provisioning, clothing, blacksmith, and wood, the woodworker one, which has the most furniture. Alright, and so before I kind of bow out here and just let you watch this stuff, the purpose of this, if you look in the upper left corner, that's like what it is. From, like, for example, this is enchanting. You can look at the item on the right side, what it is, and you can just look up the recipe in your local guild trader, and you can see what the ingredients are in case someone's trying to rip you off or something like that. Yeah, basically it's just to show you a quick preview of a lot of the items. I obviously don't have all of them. I don't think anyone can claim to have all of them yet, but I got almost every one of the green ones, a lot of the blue ones, and probably not that many of the purple recipes. And I have yet to get any of the ones from the Master Crafting writs, which are legendary. So those aren't in there right now, but most of you can look at that up. It's fairly simple to find that guy. And I think in the future I'm going to probably make an updated version of this when I get more recipes, hopefully more to complete. Like completion now, maybe in a few months or something. Yeah, so I'll probably have an updated video which shows hopefully a lot more than this. So as you can see, it's just pause the video, write down the name of the one you want to get, check your local guild trader, and there you go. So I have a lot more time in this video. I probably could just talk over the whole thing and talk about maybe like how you find things and where you get things and stuff like that. Make it sort of a guide. I'm thinking of doing another video in which I maybe do more of a money making and recipe finding, blueprints and recipes guide. It's not that difficult to find them. I mean, I think most people by now know the majority of them are found, for me at least, through stealing, basically going into towns and whatnot and looting containers. So you can also, obviously, if you're adamant about not stealing and you want to do these in dungeons, there's probably some dungeons that are better than others as far as how many containers each dungeon has and all this stuff. But I would basically check every solitary container that is out there, because I found them in things that I know a lot of people like go to wardrobes, chests, trunks, and dressers, and ignore these types. But don't ignore those types. They're in every one of them. I've seen them in the crates and the barrels too. So make sure you check those and check everything. And I personally think I've done some grinding in this game as far as like killing mobs goes. Yeah, you will find some off of killing mobs, but you're not going to find nowhere near as many as if you're going around looting things. So I'll probably make some of my favorite thieving routes, which will obviously get you a lot of money for gold, and hopefully you can just buy the recipes you're missing. I would concentrate, I probably started too late on this myself, but concentrate on getting the blues and the purples, because a lot of the greens will drop for you more often anyway, and the prices are dropping on those like a rock, because now they're literally, some of them are like less than 1,000. I know some of you that are on consoles are newer to this, so the prices may be a little higher on consoles still. So I am just talking about PC version, but yeah, so that'll be helpful for you guys hopefully. And I'll mention a few places until I actually show specific routes that you can use. Some of my favorite areas, I mean, you can almost make your own routes pretty much anywhere in any town, because I think most of the banks are probably the best spot for it. Now, I can mention a few. I personally think the one in Stormhaven is really good. The bank in Volkel's Guard, that's the starter town for the Aldmeri Dominion. It's pretty good. Make sure you, again, check upstairs and downstairs. The thing with the banks is you got to keep an eye out for, almost every one of them has guards, and that's the only thing you really have to be careful about. The one bank that's in Kavach, which is on the Gold Coast, that's the Dark Brotherhood DLC. That has no guard in it. Just have to make sure you don't get caught by Mr. the banker. That's about it. And check upstairs in that because it's got a lot of containers upstairs in that one. Now you can pretty much make routes based on that alone, but also check inns, particularly the second and third level on the inns. Some of these inns have second, third levels. Check them out because I've noticed quite a few of them have a lot of lootable chests and wardrobes and things on the second and third level. I've noticed that again. Stormhaven's great for that. The main kind of capital building in certain towns I would also mention. Like for instance, let's say for the Ebonheart pack, the first zone, Stone Falls, the town of Cragganmore, which is kind of more to the, I guess that would be west, on the west end, the main building there, kind of like in the center of town, a little bit northish, I think, if I'm thinking right here, of the Way Shrine, that main building has like 3 levels and it's got a lot of lootable containers in it. Plus, you can also add in going around pickpocketing and backstabbing people. So my typical method is just to pickpocket once and then backstab them. Obviously, once you get good at that and knowing where the patrol routes are in whatever town you pick to do this in, you can make a good amount of money that way by looting items. You want to probably loot just green or better items, but it's not a very good way to get these furniture blueprints, though. Unfortunately, I have gotten a few things through pickpocketing, not a whole lot, but you will get you'll get a few things from looting. Also, keep in mind when you are taking these stolen items to the fence below, each one of the major towns has like the hideout there where you can fence items. When you bring it to the fence, make sure you check because there are some items, lootable items in containers, not a whole lot, but a few that are furniture items, and they will not really look too much different. So you want to check like the little box that pops up for the item before you launder and fence the goods. And in the upper left corner, it'll say either treasure, recipe, or furniture. There are a few items of furniture. Another thing to keep in mind is once you sell it to a fence, I'd say there's no rebuying it like you can in from a vendor like you would out in the world normally. So you want to be careful to check that out and maybe go through your list before you start fencing things in case you have furniture items. I know sadly there's a lot of items in game that look like they would be furniture items and they're actually not furniture items, so you just launder them. So yeah, obviously you would want to work on increasing the skill rank and putting skill points into passives for your Ledger Domain first, then going to your Thieves Guild stuff next. Particularly that one, I forget the name of the passive, but there's one passive that gets you more money per item sold. I think you can upgrade it several times, and it ends up being like 30 or 35% if I'm remembering right. So that's a huge jump up in price for your laundered goods. You definitely want to go for that. You might even want to, even if you're struggling a little bit to level up Ledger Domain, to go for the Thieves Guild and go for that one in particular. Playing through the quest line, and that is going to be helpful. But if you're not very good at pickpocketing, you're going to get stuck really quickly because there's a lot of things that require pickpocketing in that. So obviously Ledger Domain, leveling that up is important. So I'm going to just talk about how to level that up pretty quickly here. The best way is when you are low level in that. Like let's say you're like a beginning level character, or you haven't done much of this stealing stuff. You're going to want to concentrate on like using the fence, but also laundering goods too, getting to your maximum each day. Even if you have to steal junk items, like let's say food ingredients, because there's going to be a lot of food ingredients in these containers, particularly like barrels, chests, and some of them bags and stuff. So you'll want to launder those too, just to get like the point each for leveling that up each day. And you want to do that not on just one character, but as many as you can. Obviously, Nightblades are going to be way better at doing this. So if you make like a stamina and a magicka Nightblade, you'll want to keep, when you're going through your thieving routes and stuff, you're going to want to keep that one vanish ability on your bar. Otherwise, you're going to have to rely upon invisibility potions if you get caught, and probably like you're gonna have to think seriously about like if you get caught, getting away from the guard that's chasing you, getting to like if you're stuck in a building, getting as far away as possible because sometimes they will only path just so far. If you can somehow survive it, you know, you might be able to make it. But yeah, it's tricky. So don't overextend yourself while you're learning this, going through this learning process of how to steal things. So please keep that in mind as you're kind of learning this stuff. Also keep in mind, I'm thinking also would probably be a good idea to, like if you're going around and murdering people, like pickpocket once, then murder them. Because if you pickpocket 2 or 3 times, then when you murder them, you don't get an item. Since you're going to murder them anyway, you might as well just do it once or twice. I do it once just for speed's sake. And sometimes if you loot twice, I've noticed sometimes like the next time when they respawn in, the people that you're murdering, they'll respawn in and they'll sometimes not have all the items back, and it makes it kind of pointless to re-murder them again. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll say they're empty or something along those lines. So keep that in mind when you're going around pickpocketing and murdering people for cash and prizes. I've done this with pretty much all my people. Like basically leveling up, obviously the Nightblades first because it'll be the most effective, but getting potions for the other people because there are some rogue potions that you'll get, you know, like through turn-ins on different Thieves Guild dailies and stuff like that. And you'll get some, I think for the Dark Brotherhood dailies sometimes too. You'll get those potions that allow you to vanish, and some of them will allow you to get like a stamina boost. So if you are a Nightblade, you might want the stamina boost potions on your quick bar. You know what I'm saying? So that you can use them quickly for escape purposes. And oh yeah, there's a few other things you can do. Like if you're in the champion point level, you could actually put points into, I know it's a completely useless skill tree, that one skill tree that gets you the treasure hunter passive up on the top bar. I know it's under one of the 3 thieves things, and I forgot the name of it off the top of my head. But that one will help sometimes a little bit with looting for high quality loot items. And I would suggest maybe in the long run, if you got like a lot of time on your hands, obviously to level up people that even aren't Nightblades in the Ledger Domain in particular. In particular, do the Thieves Guild stuff, even if you're not gonna, if you're starved on points, fine, but at least get that one where you get the additional money per item sold to the fences. At least go through the Thieves Guild storyline and get the level 12 with that, at least just for that one. The other ones are nice too, though, from that one, from the Thieves Guild and the Dark Brotherhood one, for alleviating your bounties in particular. Plus, you'll also find a lot of those larceny writs as you're doing some of this stuff from some of the dailies that you're doing for those 2 quest lines. So that will help a lot in making money and in possibly like at least like you're not losing a lot of these items when the guards catch you, is what I'm saying. So don't be afraid to go and launder your goods often. I mean, like just do your route once, but don't tempt fate and keep going, thinking, oh, I'll keep doing this route and just like redoing it over and over again. Yes, you should do that, but I'm just saying is, sell your stuff, because if you are caught, then you're losing less items. You know what I'm saying? So it's worthwhile to do that kind of thing, to launder your goods, kind of regularly. And when you do get all this stuff maxed out, you're able to sell like 140 items per day once all the Ledger Domain's all maxed out. And if you're getting greed items and better, you're going to make quite a bit of gold. Like if I were to sit down and do this with all 8 of my characters, and let's say if you bought even more character slots, you can do this with more. Obviously, with Morrowind coming out, you're going to want to save those character slots for the new Warden class anyway. But I'm just saying this: if you do this with all your dudes, all your characters, you could potentially make quite a bit of money per day. Obviously, it's quite a bit of time per day, particularly if you're just looking for the greed items and better. As you're leveling up Ledger Domain, you could probably just not, you can ignore that rule and just get like white items just to level that up quicker. And obviously, if you don't have enough time in a day to do all 8 dudes or the 1 dude you are working on, you just get the white items. At least that way, you're gaining levels in it, and you're making money. So I mean, that's based more like your own time usage kind of stuff. So keep that in mind as you're like, how much time do I have to do this today, and all this. You know, keep that in mind when you're going around to your thieving routes. And so yes, in the future I will have probably videos on here that will focus on specific thieving routes that I'm using that are useful for making money like this. I mentioned a couple earlier. So I mean, like the Capitol buildings, obviously certain ones. Certain cities, actually there's certain like routes that are really nice, like Rothgar or Citium. That city itself is really very good. There's multiple routes you could go in that, multiple buildings that are very good. So keep that one in mind. If you're going on assassination routes too, I've found Kvatch is very good. Only because it's linked to the Dark Brotherhood. I get the feeling that they probably have a slightly faster respawn rate on the citizens that you're murdering. So that's one to consider. Plus, the castle there has a lot of. If you've done the part into the Dark Brotherhood storyline where you're able to get into the castle, that is very good also because there's a lot of lootable containers in there. So I think I'll just kind of end on that note. I'll let some music play out at the end here, and I'll just remind people. If this video helped you out, whether through the previews above, even if you just muted me out, well, you want to hear me if you muted me out, but if you share this video with people, like, okay, hey, if you're wondering what this looks like, or that looks like, or this chest looks like, or whatever, then you can refer them to this video so they see what the recipes are, how much it is, and all that. And in the future, I'm going to probably, hopefully, have more of this again in a larger video with hopefully much more recipes in the future. And I'm planning on doing on the channel probably a tour of my houses, which sadly they're not that good right now. But I just for people's curiosity's sake of this, I just like showing off stuff like that. Like, hey, this is what I did with my house. That kind of thing. I actually have a few houses, so in the future I'm going to probably show off some of my houses here on the channel. Although my character is not that rich, you do get a little bit bored doing these thieving routes, and I was doing a lot of that leading up to the Homestead release. So I got a little burned out. So now that I got to redo it all again just to get money to buy the recipes and find more recipes. It's kind of like I'm a little burned out right now on doing that. So hopefully this guide helped you out. Perhaps we'll redo it in a more formal fashion where I actually show you those routes. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. I have a Elder Scrolls Online guide playlist and an Elder Scrolls Online playlist for all the treasure maps and the crafting writ surveys, which are going to become important if you're going to get all those legendary the crafting stations and the legendary recipes for this kind of stuff here, what we were looking at, the legendary stuff. Like you can get the training dummies and whatnot. So, alright, I'm running out of footage here. I guess I'm not going to throw the music in after all. So I just want to thank you guys for watching. Hit the thumbs up on the way out, and I will see you guys next time. Adios, folks.